Okay, welcome to Lab 13, question 1. Waffle and GoDaddy should produce more because the price is greater than the marginal cost, and Rio Blanco and Luke's Lawn Service should produce less because the price is less than the marginal cost. Question 2a, the marginal cost curve is going to shift upwards and to the left, as you can see in the graph. 2b, the number of motors produced are going to fall because of the higher wages shifting the marginal cost upward and to the left. When this happens, the profit maximizing quantity falls, as you can see by the dotted lines, the quantity before and after. Question 2c, the price of motors will remain the same. Galt Inc. is just one of many firms within the industry, and the fall in supply represented by the higher cost at a single firm is not enough to impact the price of motors noticeably. Question 2d, fewer workers will want to work at Galt Inc. because of the higher marginal cost after the labor deal means Galt Inc. will be making fewer motors, which means fewer jobs making motors. 3a, in the long run, your friend is not right because the competition will ensure that the price falls to the zero profit level in the long run, and also because the price is determined by the location of the cost curve, not the demand curve. And 3b, the location of the average cost curve will have the biggest effect on the price of the good that people really want.
For question 4, part A, Sam's marginal revenue is the market price, which is 50 cents. For part B, he will pick the apples on the lower branches first, since they are both easier to reach, and he doesn't have to feel as scared as if he would to go and get the apples at the higher branches. Therefore, his marginal cost would be lower for the apples on the lower branches. Part C, as I've alluded to before, the marginal cost would be increasing as the quantity of apples increases, since the total cost would increase per each additional apple picked. For part D, it asks us to fill in the given table, which we've done so in the using the values highlighted in red here. And using the table for part E, we can see that when he picks 4 apples, his change in profits would be $0. So anything more than that will result in him making a loss. So therefore, Sam will only pick 4 apples. For question 5, part A, Ralph would produce 15 bags of trail mix, since this is the quantity at which the price meets the marginal cost curve on the graph shown. And for part B, it asks us to highlight his profits or losses. And in this case, Ralph would be making a profit, since his marginal cost would be above the average cost at the quantity of 15 trail mix bags. And this profit is shown by the highlighted area on the graph. For question 5, part C, Ralph would expect fewer competitors, since the market is already saturated, and this would mean that the price would fall, however, in the long run, and it would fall to the point at which Ralph would be making 0 profits, and that would be $4.
For question 6, it asks to graph your marginal grades along with your average grades. So this is the graph of the 10 quizzes. And then for part 2, it says that it asks that does your average start increasing after your 4th quiz grade? This it stays relatively constant, even though it does rise slightly. It rises by 0.6. So it rises because the grade on the 5th test was higher than the 4 test grade average. For question 7, it asks what is the minimum price that Simon will need to make per room to earn a positive economic profit. That price is going to be $48.33 because at over that price, he'll make a positive economic profit on at least one of the quantity per week. And then if the price is lower than that, he should be getting out of the market as soon as possible because he's losing money. For question 8, it asks to calculate Sandy's accounting profit. That is just her annual revenues minus her expenses. So that equals $100,000. And then for part B, you have to add the salaries of her possible jobs. So the economic profit in part 1 would be $50,000. For part 2, it would be $0. And then for part 3, it would be negative $150,000.
The difference between, oh, so that was my bad. I forgot I muted myself.
You're good.
So in this question, we are asked if what the difference is between a cost and an expense. So a cost is basically a one-time payment that you make for a good or a service. It is usually in terms of like one-time payments with cash or with money, while an expense would be an ongoing payment that you would have to make in order to continue to run a business. Using the purchasing of a building as an example, the cost of a building would be the price that you pay when you purchase the building, while the expense of that building or the expense accrued on that building would be the mortgage payments that you'd have to keep making on that particular building. So yes, and then for number 10, we're asked to find the missing parts of the table. So using the relationships between the different terms and values, we're able to find each of the missing values, and these missing values are the ones highlighted in red. So thank you. This has been our lab. We appreciate you for listening.